It was my first time in France, and I was living the dream. I had spent the morning strolling through Parisian streets, enjoying the sights, and, of course, eating my weight in croissants. By lunch, I was feeling bold and ready to try something more exotic, something quintessentially French, and what better place to try it than a quaint little cafe near the Seine? I sat down, scanned the menu, and immediately my eyes landed on something that looked too good to pass up. Foie Gras, the chef's special. I had heard of foie gras, but the description sounded like something new I had never tasted before. A smooth, creamy dish? It said something about a delicate texture, and honestly, I was thinking, this is probably some fancy French ice cream. I mean, who wouldn't want to try that? I raised my hand, pointed to the menu, and said proudly to the waiter, "I'll have the foie gras special, please." He nodded, smiled, and disappeared into the kitchen. A few minutes later, the dish arrived in front of me, and it looked perfect. It was smooth with a glossy, creamy finish. The texture looked just like a scoop of ice cream, but with a slight golden hue. I took my first bite, expecting a cool, sweet flavor. But the second it hit my tongue, I realized this wasn't ice cream. My brain went into full panic mode. The texture was way too rich, the flavor was intense, and there was something weirdly chewy about it. It was like a butter-soaked meat, not anything close to a dessert. I spit it out immediately, which was probably not the most graceful thing to do in a chic Parisian cafe. I looked down at my plate, eyes wide, as I realized I had just eaten raw foie gras. Not a sweet dessert, not ice cream, live foie gras. I turned red and looked around, hoping no one had noticed my very undignified reaction. But of course the waiter came over, smiled kindly, and said, "Is everything okay, sir?" I couldn't stop myself from stammering, I thought it was ice cream?" He chuckled and nodded. "Ah, yes, that's quite a surprise for many. Foie gras can be quite intense." After my initial shock wore off, I was both horrified and fascinated. How was something so rich and creamy, and yet so alive? My face was still red, but I had to admit, it was a very French moment. Moral of the story? Always ask what you're eating, and never, ever assume that anything with a creamy texture in France is dessert. My taste buds were definitely in shock, but at least I got a pretty good story out of it.